Hey man, look, put respect on Paul George's name. That's all I gotta say to you guys. Playoff P is what his name is. Pandemic P, throw that shit out the window because that shit is getting out of here. Get that out of here, man. This guy came up big in game 5 when his team needed him the most. 41 points, balled out in the second half. What more do you ask your best players to do and produce in the biggest moments? That's what Paul George did. Now, before I get into the recap, of course, leave a like on the video, subscribe if you're new. If you enjoy the NBA content, I urge you to tell your friends about DJ Stevo. But of course, one thing I gotta add real quick. Thank you guys again for 300 subscribers. We just hit 300 subscribers, and I am really, really blessed, and I appreciate every single one of you guys. Besides all that, let me get right into the video. So, game 5. We talk about the fact that the Clippers they've had their back against the wall the entire playoff run this year. Now, in this game, Zubac is injured. He's not playing. You're missing your starting center. You got to play small. It was already going to be a tough game for the Clippers, and the Clippers came out and balled. They came out with so much energy to begin the game that I knew from the jump that they had their minds ready to win this game. Now, a lot of teams, you see a lot of teams come into these games, and you feel like, they've played so hard so far in the playoffs. Do they really have anything left to give in this game? The Clippers didn't show that. They wanted to win this game. You had big performances from Reggie Jackson, DeMarcus Cousins, who had his playoff high. DeMarcus Cousins' playoff high is 15 points. Y'all know that? 15 points. That is insane. That is insane. But back to what I'm talking about. So, Paul George, 41 points, man. And the thing is, in that first half, you could really talk about him not even being the best player for the Clippers. He really wasn't. In that first half, he was all right. 11 points, cool. I mean, the game was tied again. I don't know if it was tied. I think the game was close. But it didn't seem like Paul George was really, really aggressive. And you could hear the announcers talking about it. It just seemed like Paul George was, taking a back seat. And I was like, well, this is a game 5 where your team could be eliminated. What are you going to do? And he came out in that second half, balled out, had, I believe, 30 points. And I'm telling you, this is what I love to see from Paul George. Because a lot of people, I've talked about this before, the slander that this man gets, I understand it. When you're in the NBA, you're going to get slandered a lot. But it gets to a point now where everybody just finds a way to just get at him just because it's funny now. And I just hate that. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to poke at a dead body. Like, that's just lame to me. But what he did tonight, just shut people up. Shut people up. Tell them who you really are. Because when we talk about Paul George, a lot of y'all don't even remember back in the day, in 2012, 2013, 2014, this guy was battling with LeBron James in the Miami Heat. He was that nice. He was that nice. You want to talk about the fact that ever since 2014, after he had that gruesome leg injury, he never had a really great talent around his team. You talk about the Indiana Pacers when they had who? CJ Miles? CJ Miles is who we talking about on his team to go win a championship or perform a great playoff run? No. PG has always been a great main guy to lead your team. Now, recently we've seen him defer, and I think that him deferring has kind of limited his game and limited his confidence in being a great player that we know he can be. But right now, he's balling out of his mind. He's going to have some bad games here and there. These guys are human, but I am loving what I'm seeing from Paul George. I said this from the jump. I said that now that the pressure is off the Clippers, their expectations of winning a championship isn't as high as that we expected it to be when the playoffs began because they're missing Kawhi Leonard. Now that the expectations are so low, Paul George is playing with a lot more freedom and a lot less pressure, and that's only going to boost his game. And we saw that tonight, 41 points. And I got to talk about Reggie Jackson. Reggie Jackson's going to get paid, bro. Reggie Jackson's going to get paid. I'm telling you, we in a pandemic, that man's going to be in a bandemic. He is getting paid this summer. I don't know who's going to give him that money. Not the Rockets, though, because we really don't need you. We're trying to get that boy Evan Mobley or Jalen Green or get rid of John Wall. But that's besides the point. But again, Reggie Jackson, quick thing about him. Look, this guy has looked really, really great this entire playoffs, starting back from the Mavs series. And I think it's come to a great shock from a lot of people because last year he wasn't that great in the playoffs. This year he has been a complete perfect offensive second option for this team, and it's beautiful to watch. And one thing I gotta add for this team before I get on the Suns, Tyronn Lue. When are we gonna talk about this man as a coach? Now, I will be honest with you. A lot of my friends in my group messages that I chat with, they were the first people to talk about this. I will say that I'll admit, Ty Lue might be a top 5 coach in the league. Might be even higher than that. Because when you talk about a coach where your team is facing elimination, you consistently find ways to prevail. Not just prevail, but prevail without your best players and without your full starting lineup, without guys being injured. That is phenomenal. You talk about the fact that DeAndre Ayton in these series right now, he has been looking crazy. Now with the lineup that you put out tonight due to Zubac not being injured, essentially made him almost a non-factor in this game. That's not just guys playing good. That's the scheme as well. And I have to give credit to Tyronn Lue, because a lot of people didn't give him his credit back in Cleveland when he was coaching with LeBron James. And I understand that when you have LeBron James is like the ultimate guy. He's going to push you over the edge just because he's LeBron James. But Tyronn Lue deserves his credit for this team, man. Deserves his credit. The Clippers look good in Game 5. Now in Game 6, can they get it done? I think that they can. Now, I don't know what's going on with Kawhi. I think Zubac will be back. Hopefully he will be back. But Game 6, the Suns are in a position where they need to close out the series. Now, I always said this about the Suns, and I told people about the Suns. I said the Suns are a great team. Give them their credit. Even though they faced a lot of teams that have been injured a lot this series, we could talk about that. It's true. They faced a lot of teams, like, they've had a lot of things go in their favor. But I said one thing about the Suns that you have to realize, that if you're going to beat this team, you have to put the pressure on these guys. Devin Booker, you got to make him work. A lot of times we were watching this guy get to the elbow and just spray it with ease. The Clippers aren't allowing that. And we got to give credit to Patrick Beverley too. A lot of guys deserve credit, man. Patrick Beverley did his thing. Now, I'm not saying he's like the best defender of all time. Like, come on, I ain't going that crazy now. But I will say that Patrick Beverley has made it a lot harder for the Devin Booker and Chris Paul and a lot of these guards on the Suns to get what they like. It's true. You look at the fact that Monty Williams, when Patrick Beverley went to the bench, moved Devin Booker to the point guard to run the show. There's a reason why, because Pat Bev's not on the court. Now, I'm not going to give too much credit about that, but I don't talk too much about the Suns now. Again, the Suns, they can win this series. They have everything they need. I just think that right now, they just got to figure out a way to mimic or find a way to get over the hump of that small ball lineup that the Clippers are running. I think it becomes with Ayton being more aggressive. I think in this game, he didn't seem as much aggressive as he was before. I think that he has to figure out a way to be more effective in Game 6 when they run that small ball lineup, because he's the tallest player on the court. We know how great he can be, and I think he'll find a way to do that. Now, Game 6, my predictions for that, I want a great game, to say the least. I want a great game. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I want a great game. And I think that the Clippers at home, it's the perfect scenario for you guys to go ahead and say, you know what, let's take it to a Game 7. But again, CP3, Devin Booker, I need you guys to go crazy too, because at the end of the day, nothing is set in stone. We've seen Cleveland back 5 years ago come back from 3-1. It can happen. So they got to be careful. But again, a shout out to Paul George, man. Shout out to Paul George, bro. 41 points in a Game 5 that your team needed. Give this man his credit before you guys slander him again, because you guys are going to do it. So give him his credit, man. The Clippers did their thing, especially Paul George. But this Game 5, good stuff. Besides all that, if you guys enjoyed the video, of course, leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and if you enjoy the content, tell your friends about DJ Stevo. Again, I appreciate every single one of you guys who helped me get to 300 subscribers. I know it's such a small number in the grand scheme of things, but I really do appreciate you guys who actually watch the videos, leave likes, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. I truly appreciate you guys. And until next time, stay on beat.